Hi, my name is Callie, and welcome to another week updates with Cables and Pearl. So this week, I didn't get that much stuff done. I don't know what it was. It could have been just a busy week or something, but I didn't get that much done. I had started on the new bandana type thing I'm working on. A second. So this is as far as I got. This is it. So I'm gonna be working on it. I think I just unraveled part of it too. Should have put my stitch marker in. But anyway, so this is as far as I got in regards to it. And in the meantime, oh, I don't know if I shared this with you. I did happen to complete the pink one. So I did, and then I do have something then. I completed the pink one and I'm working on the yellow one now. And hopefully after I finish work on the yellow one, I'll work on the orange one. And then I should be completed with that. And hopefully I'll end up doing the sweater that I haven't touched since 2 weeks. But since I don't have that much of an update, I just want to have a sit down and a chit chat about some things that I've noticed in my changing habits when I started to learn how to knit. So a long time ago, I bought this book, right? And I'll tell you something, this book is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. It helps out with measurements. It helps out with the fine details of how long you want something to be, understanding when you want to extend it. Basically, it's a great book to let you know all different sizes based upon measurements and how long you're going to start with something. Just average body part measurements. The best thing to most likely do when working with measurements is to actually measure the person. I mean, each person has different body measurements requirements. Some people have long torsos, some people have short torsos. So the book helps us get a general idea of what the measurements are for arm length and for body length and armhole depth. But it can't answer all the questions of how long should I knit this for this person unless you measure that person directly. With that being said, that's one of the things that I've learned. So over the many years that I've learned how to knit, and I really focused on sweaters in the very beginning. I don't know, I just baptized myself with sweaters. I used to knit sweaters for my children when they were babies, and then gradually went on to make a very complicated Aryan sweater that I liked. But it didn't suit me, so I gave it to my daughter. And I realized that no matter how much I think I know, okay, I can follow these set plans to make a coherent sweater, which worked, by the way. What it doesn't tell you is how much ease you want in your sweater, how much flexibility you wanted, how tight, how loose, that's the ease. And so I made the sweater based upon the measurements. This is my rookie mistake, right? Made the sweater upon the measurements of me exactly. So sometimes the sweater would be tight and I would say to myself, I wanted more ease. Next sweater I make, I'll add more ease. The ease for that sweater would be maybe too loose, or the armhole depth would be too deep. So, trial and error. A lot of trial and error. And one thing would say, well, why don't you just purchase a pattern and learn that way? And that probably would be a better direction, a better way to go. But I guess I like things complicated. So I like the mathematics that goes along with the sweater making process in the end. But ultimately, I got a good idea on how to make sweaters from bottom up. So this pattern, or I guess this set of measurements, helps you make a sweater from bottom up. Now, I have another book of hers that help you make sweaters from top to bottom, right? So I have another book of hers that makes sweaters from top to bottom. And this is it, from top to bottom. And I had made one of my first raglan sweaters with this method. Well, I should correct myself. I made a raglan sweater with this method. However, it's not the first one I made. The first one I made was a bottom up design. And I've learned something with both methods. And this is the quite interesting part. Top, bottom, of course, you get to, what's what I'm looking for? You get to try on the clothes as you do it. Bottom up, you are relying on the measurements that you take based upon how you know your body and how you know you like your clothes to fit. So with that being said, top bottom was nice for me because I can adjust as I saw fit, as I went along. Bottom up was I had to be sure in the measurements that I took to make sure that the end product was going to be exactly as I had hoped. Both methods are great. Both methods are good. Actually, there's a way to combine both methods. Sometimes you want to do a bottom-up sweater with sleeves from top down. However you decide to work it, that's on you, right? I learned I like making things in panels because then I could just focus on that one segment at a time. Sometimes it gets overwhelming, let's be honest. Like, that's why that sweater is most likely still there. Other times, if it's worked around in a circle, you can get it done much faster, and that's the honest truth about it. But I do like working it in panels because now the back panel is there, and I guess it's just plain stockinette, and there's not much excitement in wanting to do it. But it's going to get done regardless. And then the other aspects of it will get done because I can't move on until I finish the back panel. So with that being said, I do like both methods. Both methods, top, bottom, and bottom up. And what I do enjoy about these books is that they give you, again, the measurements, adult sizes, and things of that nature, and how many stitches to cast on based upon your gauge. Or if you want to work a book differently, you can look at your gauge in particular and the size that you want, and then from that point use those numbers to cast on. It can get complicated because the math is already worked out there for you, but whichever method you decide to do, either fix your numbers to fit in the gauge that's in the book or use numbers that's in the book to work with the gauge that you already have. With that being said, I find that both methods work, and I do like making sweaters differently in different capacities and different organizational skills, such as bottom up or top down. I do tend to see myself navigate more to bottom up, so we'll see how that works. I do like it. That's just where I'm at the moment. So in regards to sweater making, I realized that over time I do tend to do things in panels, and there's no real reason for it. It's just my preference, and you know how it goes, right? You have a preference, you got a preferred way of doing it, you're comfortable with it, that's what you do. But that does not mean you don't try something else. You try it, you see if you like it, and that's that. Now in regards to sweater making, a second thing that I have noticed was this. I wanted to go further in my understanding of not just the sweater making, but what goes on behind the process of choosing what style that I wanted to make. Because we all know there's saddle shoulder, there's drop shoulder, there's set in shoulder, there's raglan. They have, multiple different categories. But then that's the type of garment or the structure of the garment. Now, how about how we construct it? Do we construct it bottom up, top down, side to side, diagonal? And that's where the fun comes in. So I decided to pick up a book, Sweater Design in Plain English. And I'll tell you this, I've read this book once so far. I'm going to read it again because I do like her writing style. It was more personal, it was engaging, a knitting book, right? A knitting book engaging. I can hear some people, but it was engaging, and it did teach me a lot of different things. And one thing that I've noticed again is body measurements matter. You can't get around it. You got to know where you are at the time of when you're making the sweater. I learned the hard way with making that red sweater for my other son. He was smaller when I measured him, and by the time I finished it, he went through a growth spurt. And what ended up happening is that the sweater was too short, and it was too small, and it was too tight. So I had undid the whole thing and redid it again. I'm going to try my best to finish the sweater so he doesn't go through another growth spurt before it's done. But I learned that measurements really, really do matter. And not only do they matter, but it helps me understand how that sweater is going to look and fit by the time I finish it. Another thing that it has taught me was, well, this book in particular, right? It has taught me about what type of sweater works well with my particular body type. So I have a short torso. I have longer legs. I am short overall, or average, however you want to say it. And I wanted to find that sweet ground where I can walk out with my sweater and not feel frumpy because the sweater is too long, and not feel constricted because the sweater is too tight. So I need to find that sweet space in between, like, what style do I like? And sometimes the best way is not just trial and error of making a sweater. It's usually just the trial and error of getting the clothes or trying on the clothes that you actually do like. And I found out that the length that I like for my sweaters is actually cropped. Go figure, right? Older, but it works for me because my torso is short. And if I use a longer type crop for my sweater, my hips, my lovely hips, is a different size than my upper body. And so what ends up happening is that you start making the sweater for the hips circumference and not what the upper body is. And what comes into problems with that is that the sweater could look oversized. The sweater could be too big. The sweater may not be the fit that you wanted. Also, because that may be the issue, or you need to make the sweater longer and to accommodate your hip size, different techniques come into play. And that's when I'm starting to pick up on darting. I'm starting to pick on short rows in certain areas that are more voluptuous than others. And I'm now experimenting in that when it comes down to knitting a sweater. I hope that makes sense, right? So it's not just, hey, I like this sweater design, I'm going to make this design. Or I see a pattern, a stitch pattern, I like it. It's more or less like, I like this stitch pattern. How can I incorporate this stitch pattern in a sweater that suits me and fits my measurements and accommodates my other areas that are more voluptuous than others, right? And so that's the challenge, and that's the challenge that I'm actually really liking to face at the moment. So if I have an update on that, I'll let you know about it. But so far, if you do want to pick up any books in regards to making sweaters and to knowing more about it, this book, I saw it. This is actually a used copy. I don't think this is in print anymore. So if you can get your hands on a used copy, hold on to it. Really, hold on to it. All right? Unless it's a library book, then, But if you can find it in thrift stores, or if you can find it in secondhand store, wherever you can find it if you can, and then hold on to it. This book is a treasure trove of information. Another book or another books I would recommend for you is, as I mentioned before, this is an older book, but I think I had this book. This book was actually used. This is Making Sweaters from Bottom Up, and this is her other book, Making Sweaters from Top Down. So these two books, they go in hand, especially however you like making sweaters. And the beautiful part is that there's no wrong way or right way to make a sweater. If it doesn't fit you, it's going to fit somebody. That's how I see it, right? But if you like top down, great. If you like bottom up, great. If you like complicated stitches, awesome. If you like more relaxed and, more stockinette, kudos to you. However you like making a sweater, make it the way you particularly like it, in the type of yarn that you like, and the type of needle size that you like. So in the meantime, I'm going to more deep dive into this, finish the crochet projects that I have, and hopefully make more headway on the knit sweater that I'm working on. So until then, I hope you have a great week. And if I have any updates in between the week, I'll definitely share it with you. And we'll see where it goes. All right? Have a great week. Take care.